Let me zero in on one particular thing. For example, yung sinabi kasi ni dating Senator Juan Ponce Enrile and also Presidential Chief Legal Counsel, ang sabi niya, and I will read his quote po ang sabi po ni Enrile, although no criminal charge can be made at this time against Sara for her statement because it is conditional, care must be taken by both sides to prevent evil parties from taking advantage. So, in effect, what Enrile is saying, na hindi criminally liable si Sara because yung kanyang threat is conditional. I'm wondering po kasi I also read Article 282 ng Revised Penal Code, meron pong conditional threat na concept. So, ano po yung tama?
Pagkaiba, yung conditional threat is different from threat with a condition.
Okay. Okay, sige po.
Because yung threat with a condition is that you threaten somebody with a crime so that he will do something, demanding that he will do something or not do something to prevent him from doing something. That's what is defined as a threat with a condition. Yeah, punishable under the Revised Penal Code. And if you succeed in getting him to do or not to do because of the threat, the penalty for the rape threat would be 1 degree lower than the crime that you were planning to inflict upon to commit. No? Kung hindi naman nag-succeed, hindi mo siya na-pwersa o kaya napigilan because of the threat, the penalty will be 2 degrees lower than the crime that you intended or threatened him with. That's different from a conditional threat.
Ano po yung ibig sabihin ng conditional threat?
But something that is premised on another thing happening for what you're saying to happen will indeed happen. In the case of Sara, sabi niya, kung ako mamatay, I hired or I engaged somebody to kill the president, the first lady, and the speaker.
Pero criminal offense din po yan, attorney. Yung conditional threat.
From the investigation and evidence gathering of NBI, I suppose, may nakita sila na posible. It is we don't have jurisprudence over that.
Okay.
Pero so, maganda rin kung ma-test ng ang jurisprudence, would that amount to the criminal offense of grave threat.
Pero attorney, sabi niya, meron siyang kinausap eh.
Precisely. And he was even saying, this is no joke.
Yes, sir.
Joke ito.
So, yung...
Balikan ko lang, attorney, yung yung mga joke, yung nagumpisa tayo sa mga joke eh. Kasi sa meron tayong batas against making bomb jokes pag sumasakay sa eroplano.
Sa airport.
Hindi ba mag-a-apply, hindi ba mas matindi ang ganyang klaseng threat? Kasi karamihan naman dyan sa mga jokes sa bomb threat eh. If you're going to bomb an airplane, I don't think you're going to talk about it, Pero pinaparusahan yung mga nagjo-joke man lang. Di ba mas malala tong joke mo, napapatay ka ng 15 senator?
Well, number one, there are two different laws involved. Yun sa joke about bombs and everything in the airport and an airplane, that's covered. There's a special law for that. So the fact that you utter it with or without malice or intent or seriousness, it's already a crime kasi special law eh. Sa Revised Penal Code kasi, there must be intent. And itong grave threat, kung joke lang naman, I mean, like you didn't really mean it. Let's say, yabang mo lang, o wala ka lang masabi ng sinabi mo. So, it might not amount to malice or bad intention. So they look at all the circumstances, whether or not the person meant it. In this particular case, kasi siya mismo nagsabi, hindi ito joke. Secondly is they will also look at is that person capable of doing what he threatens to do. So
O sige, kung speaking of capability, dahil si Rodrigo Duterte nagsalita, halimbawang ako, I'm a senator, and I feel threatened, baka iisipin ko, baka nga ipapatay ako neto. Can I file a criminal complaint against him for grave threat?
yes, you can if you feel particularly referred to by the statement. Then you can, of course. Whether or not you get a conviction will depend on the appreciation of the evidence and what kind of evidence will be presented by both parties.
Just to clarify po, attorney, yung conditional threat, nabanggitin niya na kung mamatay ako ay ganito ganyan. Kung sakaling hindi po nagsabi na no joke si VP Sara, ay maaaring lumusot po yun?
But it's not what she said, no joke. I'm just mentioning that because she said that as a matter of fact, di ba? So recorded kasi yan. The special circumstance of this is no secret. It was broadcasted all over the place. And at the time she was saying those things, she was dead serious. She was furious. She knew what she was saying. So parang seryoso sa.
So kahit conditional threat po siya, I mean, because you said a threat with condition is different from a conditional threat. At sabi po ni former Justice Secretary Juan Ponce Enrile, no charges could be filed because this is conditional.
And there are some lawyers who argue that way. But there are also some who say, but she already engaged and she broadcasted it. It was meant for everybody to know about, including those intended victims that she might have wanted to intimidate. So it's the act of intimidating.
The way it was delivered, di ba?
Pero sir,
hindi naman.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, what particular law governs itong difference ng conditional threat versus threat with condition? I asked that kasi all it says in Article 282 is if the offender shall have made a threat demanding money or imposing any other condition and so on down the line. So yung paghihimay po ng conditional versus threat with condition, ano pong batas na nag-define which one is which and which one is punishable and which one is not?
Well, only threats and threats with conditions or threats without conditions are defined by the revised penal code.
Apo.
Yung conditional threat, that's the name that some lawyers now describe what the Vice President did. Kasi daw merong condition na kung mamatay ako, I've engaged somebody to kill these people. Meron pang mga lawyers describing it as threats from the grave.
Threats from the grave, yeah. That's
Those
Panelo.
Those terms are not in law. They're not defined in law. They're just adjectives or terms used to describe what happens.
So sir,
Pero attorney, ibig sabihin,
in effect, bale,
wala
these are
tayong batas
untested.
governing that kasi it seems like a pretty common condition lalo dito sa bansa natin. Ang dami nag-aaway. Madalas namin naririnig yan Kapag yung magkakaaway, sabihin, ikaw pag may nangyari sa akin, lagot kay papapatay kita pakapapatay ka ng mga kamag-anak ko. We've heard that a lot. Ibig sabihin yung ganong klaseng threat, we have no law covering that specifically.
No, the revised penal code, Article 282. And many ordinary citizens have been convicted of threats exactly in the same situation as you mentioned.
Ganun din ginawa na Sara.
Pareho yun nung kay BP Sara. Pag may nangyari sa akin, lagot ka, ipapapatay din kita, ipapapatay ka ng mga kamag-anak ko. Isn't that the same situation? So we have
Yes.
jurisprudence
So-
on that. Pwedeng merong basihan siya kung papailan ng grave threats. Di ba?
Oo, meron man, di ba kumisan? Pag pumasok ka dyan at papatayin kita. Oh. So may mga ganun na pananalita. So it now depends on the judges. I say judges because malamang sa trial court, kung
Akit pa.
ma-convict, mag-a-appeal yan sa Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. But it would be good to test what the courts will finally say on the matter.
Pero sir, as a general rule from your experience, these kinds of examples that for example Ami cited, these have been found to be
Yes.
criminally liable in the past jurisprudence.
Yes, there have been cases like that na they were convicted of rape threats, life threats, or other forms of threats.
It's just that there's also this argument being propounded by other lawyers na baka pwedeng ilusot, I mean, at least theoretically pwedeng ilusot.
Yes, of course.
So it's-
there are always two sides to a
Yes,
coin.
sir.
So,
Correct.
they
So it
do
depends on the
equal
appreciation of the
research.
judge. Di ba?
And the
Yes,
lawyer too.
and not only the appreciation of the judge, but the evidence presented and the jurisprudence or principles of criminal law that both parties will bring forth to the judge. We should have to convince the judge
Yes, sir.
and prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person who uttered those threats are criminally liable.
Yes, sir.
Ang madali lang dito sa pangyayari kay Vice President Sara, narinig natin lahat. So no question about that. No one is denying that. So parang question of law na lang eh. Siguro what they are working now, or what they've worked around, perhaps are mga collaborating statements or evidence to show na yun talaga ang kanyang intention. Of course, they will have to adjust evidence also
Yes,
that
sir.
the three persons mentioned by her felt threatened.
Sir,
Pero in this case, ang
Di ba?
evidence, di ba, video lang? Will it stand in court?
Of course, yeah. Videos, any digital or electronic form are similar to documents.
Okay.
Sir, teka, may tanong pa ako pero I think we have to go into a gap first. Tama ba, Jan? Yeah, sir, if you don't mind, sir, we'd like to keep you on the line, but we just need to take a quick break. If you don't mind, can you stay with us? Okay, we still have with us former IBP President Attorney Igon Cayosa. Sir, thank you for staying with us, sir. Sir, I'll go back to my question kanina that I wanted to ask you. Of course, very, very public yung ginawang press conference online ni VP Sara. The videos there, I think the video's still up. Pero I understand there's also a process for you to be able to use digital material for it to be considered in court. May authentication yan and so on down the line. So ano yung kailangang what do they have to tick as far as or check as far as that kind of evidence is concerned? Kasi mukhang yun lang talagang pinaka-evidence eh. And that might be the primary evidence.
Yes, I think that's a primary evidence. And like any evidence, you have to lay the premise and for it to be admissible, to be material and relevant, genuine. So you have to show proof that it is a faithful copy of
A
the
faithful
video
copy.
that she broadcasted.
So kailangan pa na expert dyan. Expert opinion.
Pero attorney, kailangan pa ba yun kung hindi naman nila dinideny? They never denied that the video is authentic eh. Kailangan pa ba ng
That's a good
authentication kung hindi naman kino-contest nung defendant?
That's a good point. During trial, meron yung tinatawag na pre-trial. So people will propose admissions both sides. So kung hindi naman nila dinideny yung video, that will simplify the whole matter. So it only goes to the appreciation of the judge. Would that amount to a grave threat that is punishable by the revised penal code?
Attorney,
Kasi meron yung, kung may mangyari sa akin, so yun ang sinasabi nilang conditional.
yun, may kwan ba yun? May basis ba yun? Yung conditional threat? Meron bang, is there such a thing, such an animal?
No, yes, none in the law books or in the criminal laws of our country. It's just threat, great threat, simple threat, other kinds of threat.
Yung threat ni Digong nung isang araw na papatayin yung 15 senador para makapasok yung kanyang slate, can that be considered grave threat? Or just a joke?
Possibly. Well, possibly, especially in context. That's why context is very important. Diba? But yung other those by themselves kasi, usually, without the context, the court will take the word as spoken. So if it's for the accused or the prosecution to add color to it or state or magpalusos. Tinatawag natin.
Is context
Pero,
also...
attorney, kailangan ng private complainant. Hindi yan people of the Philippines case lang. Hindi pwedeng pulis
No,
lang.
it's a public crime.
Ginawa mo to. Apply lang kita ng kaso. You need a private complainant who felt threatened. Ganun ba yon?
No, this is a public crime. So the state can prosecute this. Kinakailangan lang siyempre nila yung private offended party to testify na, yeah, I was really threatened by that.
Pwede bang gamitin
It's
na...
not really the harm but the threat, the insecurity, the fear that is caused by this threat of crimes.
Attorney, pwede bang gamitin context, halimbawa, yung track record nung nag-threaten? Halimbawa, meron kang tokhang na allegedly may 35,000 na pinatay, meron kang kaso sa ICC, crimes against humanity, no? Hindi ba pwedeng context yun na seryoso yung threat? Dahil kung wala yun, kung wala ka namang ganong track record, baka hindi masyadong seryoso. Pero kung may ganong kang klaseng context, pwede bang gamitin yon as a context dito sa grave threats?
Most probably they will use that as an argument to prove that he meant business. But more importantly really is the person threatened, harmed, or injured. Like hindi na siya nakatulog, natakot siya, he had to take precautions. So, ganun. So but
Anxiety and sleepless
I agree
nights.
with you, they will use that. No, sleepless nights is about civil damages. Diba? Kahit naman sinong tao, pag sinabi mong ipapapatay kita, siguro the ordinary human being would feel afraid or take precaution.
So, Brett,
Going back,
marami pala akong pwedeng kasuhan, no?
Kasi
Dahil
marami.
hindi ako nakatulog eh.
Ganun.
Yung mga nag-threaten sa akin.
Yeah.
attorney,
Sino
Pero
going
yun
back
ang
to
tinatanong ko,
Sarah's case, ano?
attorney, kung wala namang magrereklamo sa mga senador na hindi naman sila na-threaten, pwede bang imbestigahan yan, for example, ng NBI, motu proprio, as a case of grave threat? Kung wala namang nagsasabing senador, di naman kami natatakot dyan kay Digong, ano ba yan, nagbibiro lang yan.
Well, if that's the statements of the senators, even if NBI would investigate, and they can actually investigate because this is a public crime, it's a public announcement. Kung ganun naman ang feeling ng 15 senador, wala yan, kalokohan lang yan, bravado lang yan. Wala rin patutunguhan yung kanilang investigasyon.
Tsaka hindi specified kung sino yung 15.
Yung 15. Kasi 15 sila eh. Hindi 12 eh.
Ang pakiramdam ko dito, parang si Tatay Digong ay nilalagay yung sarili niya sa parehong bangka ni VP Sara. Kumbaga parang, sige, kasuhan yung anak ko, pero kasama ako.
Yan.
Parang ganun eh. Ganun ang nakikita ko dito, nababasa ko dito.
Attorney, let me throw in one more question. Let me just complicate things a little bit kasi we're talking here about something that was done online via Zoom. And given the fact that if you're looking at the criminal case, it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. Given the present circumstances where you have things like AI and digital manipulation, would it be possible for the defense to cast aspersions and doubts as to the veracity of what we all saw online in the future? For example, pag gumulong na yung trial, sabi nila, how can you prove that that really was VP Sara? What if it was AI? What if they just introduce that seed of doubt?
Parang maraming nakakita physically, Ed. Yan ang kaibahan eh. No?
Oo. Yung nag-interview.
Sobrang ng panlolo ko yan, Ed.
Yung nag-interview, nung
Masyadong
tanong.
Ang dami na naisip ni Ed Lingo.
Masyado ng sci-fi yun.
Oo nga.
Pero attorney, sinasabi ni VP Sara na she's denying that she made that threat.
That she made a threat.
Precisely.
Hindi naman gano'n. Iba naman context no.
no.
She's denying that it was a threat.
Or that it was an active threat. It was not an active threat daw.
Oo.
Actually, sir,
Conditional yan.
Sir,
Yan
doon ko lang
ang
sagutin, sir.
pinag-uusapan natin.
Ang sabi
Yung
kasi niya, it was
conditional
not
parang fortuit,
it was not an
Hindi
active
tayo
threat.
magkaintindihan.
Is there such a thing as an active threat in law? And if it is not an active threat, if there is such a thing, does it make it a non-threat?
But yung active threat, it's not a legal threat. It's a security threat. Mga law enforcers, mga security agencies. So they're the ones who would evaluate whether or not seryoso yan, or active ba yan, or matagal na yan, hindi na nangyari. There's no such thing in criminal law. So, yan, itong mga terms na ito, lumalabas na lang. Kasi sabi, kanya-kanyang malusot na. But going back to denying that the video existed, that will be foolhardy at the part of the Vice President.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not what it will be the opposite of what they are trying to portray politically to the nation. Diba? So I don't think they would do that. Secondly, it will be very difficult for them to cast doubt on that at this late stage. There were many things they did before and after that would show that it was really authentic. So I don't think they would also do that. Paninindigan nila na sinabi talaga nila yon, but they will argue that it does not amount to
A threat.
great threat punishable under the revised penal code.
Yes.
Kasi
Ito,
conditional.
attorney, pwede ba ako kunin ka abogado dahil ang daming nagte-threaten sa akin eh. Tsaka hindi ako makatulog. Hindi ako makatulog eh. Puno ako ng anxiety at tsaka depression.
Yung mga nag-aabulyo ng
Sleepless night.
Valentine, Tony.
Iba dahilan nito.
Ang haba po ng hair nyo, ha? Ang haba.
Hoy, si Atty. Bitawan natin. Baka may Valentine's pa yan. Kaya talaga, palabas wala kayong Valentine's. Ang luwas sa loob niyang magtanong. Sige, maraming salamat. Atty.
Maraming salamat,
Domingo Cayosa,
attorney.
dating Pangulo ng IBP. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Attorney.
Thank you.